In March 2015, in the upscale Whitefield neighborhood of Bangalore, India, a shocking murder shattered the peace of the community. In a luxurious mansion, a successful man was found dead in his bedroom, with fatal injuries that shocked everyone. His young wife reported it as a break-in, but the traces at the scene revealed a completely different story. Secrets, betrayals, and an elaborate plan gradually emerged during the tense days of investigation. Meera Sharma, although born into a typical middle-class family in Mysore, always had a desire to overcome the limits set by her family's modest life. From a young age, Meera showed intelligence and ambition, always achieving high academic results. Her parents, who valued education, expected Meera to build a solid career and become the pride of the family. However, beneath the serious and disciplined exterior that Meera presents, she is fascinated by the glamour of the lavish life that she often sees through fashion magazines or Bollywood movies. Her desire to escape the monotony of middle-class life grew, especially as she began to interact with people of different lifestyles during her college years. After graduating, Meera took a job at a local bank. Although the job was stable and provided her with enough money to support herself, she grew bored with the repetitive routine of her work environment. It was during this time that Meera began to meet wealthy men at social events she attended with her friends. She quickly realized that her good looks and charming conversational skills could open doors to the life she had always dreamed of. Step by step, Meera moved away from her banking job and her old life. She began to receive attention from businessmen, politicians, and upper-class men. These relationships not only brought Meera expensive gifts, but also allowed her to attend lavish parties, travel to famous places, and access to high-class social circles. Meera did not hesitate to completely change her lifestyle to match the image she wanted to build. She started investing in designer clothes, gorgeous jewelry, and taking communication and etiquette courses to improve her status in the eyes of the wealthy. The life Meera created was not only the result of luck, but also due to careful calculation and strong determination to achieve her goals. However, in 2011, Meera Sharma's life took a completely different turn when she met Siddharth Raj at a major technology conference in Bangalore. Siddharth Raj was born in 1973 in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, into a wealthy business family. Was the keynote speaker at the event, not only attracting attention with his extensive knowledge but also with his calm, confident demeanor. Meera, in her role as an interpreter, took on the job of supporting his company's international partners. Her radiant face and professionalism quickly caught Siddharth's eye. Meera, long accustomed to the attention of successful men, initially felt nothing special. But Siddharth was different. Instead of empty flirting, he showed genuine admiration by listening to and appreciating her work. Their initial conversation, which was mostly about work, quickly turned to interesting personal stories. Siddharth sensed an independence and confidence in Meera that made her stand out from the crowd. Meera, despite having met many successful men, was impressed by his humble personality and the way he valued knowledge over showing off his assets. That meeting not only marked the beginning of a relationship, but also made both of them feel like they had found the perfect match. After only a few weeks of meeting, Siddharth did not hesitate to ask Meera out for dinner. During subsequent meetings, the two began to share more about their lives and future plans. Siddharth tells the story of his journey to build a tech company as an international student at Stanford, the challenges and dedication that got him to where he is today. Meera, though not as glamorous as Siddharth, surprises him with her honest stories of her journey to finding independence and purpose in life. Their relationship progressed quickly but deeply. Siddharth realized that Meera was not only beautiful but also possessed the intelligence and sharpness that he looked for in a life partner. Meera, who had been skeptical about her ability to maintain a lasting relationship, began to feel that Siddharth was the man she could trust. In late 2011, Siddharth proposed to Meera over a romantic dinner at a fancy restaurant in Bangalore. His proposal was not just a promise of love, but also a commitment to a future that they would build together. Meera accepted without hesitation, feeling that her life had finally found the anchor she had been searching for all along. Their wedding took place in 2012 at a luxury resort in Goa. It was a lavish event attended by hundreds of guests, including family, friends, and prominent figures from the business and technology world. The ceremony space was lavishly decorated with fresh flowers, bright lights, and melodious music. Meera, in her custom-made wedding gown, was the center of attention, while Siddharth, looking calm but proud, could not take his eyes off his bride. It was later revealed that before Meera met Siddharth, she had gone through 2 failed marriages and had a son, Aditya, from her first husband. Meera's past made many people suspicious of her true motives for marrying Siddharth, especially since she was described by colleagues and friends as a charming but pragmatic woman who was always looking for opportunities to improve her social status. Siddharth and Meera's marriage was initially a happy one. Siddharth, a devoted husband, not only provided for Meera but also cared for Aditya like his own son. He bought luxurious houses, expensive cars, and invested a large sum of money to open a high-end jewelry store for Meera. The store was not only a gift Siddharth wanted to give his wife, but also an opportunity for her to build her own career. However, conflicts began to arise when Meera gradually revealed her indifference in managing the store. Instead of focusing on the business, she often delegated responsibilities to her employees and spent most of her time on wasteful spending. Meera frequently attended social parties, bought luxury items, and traveled to expensive destinations. This habit not only caused the store to lose money, but also quickly depleted their joint account. Meanwhile, Siddharth began to feel the increasing pressure from work. He spent most of his time in the office or on international business trips to expand the company. Although Siddharth always tried to ensure that his family was well provided for, he could not help but notice that Meera was becoming more and more distant. She often complained that he was too busy to spend time with his family, but at the same time did not make any effort to understand his work and responsibilities. Siddharth gradually realized that his wife did not truly love him, but was only interested in his wealth. His suspicions became more evident when he discovered that Meera was having an affair with a young man named Rahul Nair, who worked at her jewelry store. Rahul, who was much younger than Meera, was often seen on lavish shopping trips or social occasions that Siddharth did not attend. Meera and Rahul's intimacy is not lost on Siddharth, and he begins to face the reality that their marriage is on the brink of collapse. Meera's affair not only hurts Siddharth, but also adds to their financial problems. The joint account that Siddharth had set up to support Meera's business activities is now constantly in deficit. Meera not only spends more but also borrows more to maintain her lavish lifestyle, which makes Siddharth feel taken advantage of. As their finances become strained and their trust is broken, Siddharth decides to start discussing divorce. This is the first time he has actually faced the idea of ending the marriage, something he has been avoiding all this time, because he wants to maintain stability for Aditya. However, Meera's dishonesty and extravagance become too much for him to bear. When Meera learned about Siddharth's intention to divorce, she went into a state of panic. She knew that if she lost Siddharth, she would also lose the entire lavish lifestyle she was enjoying. Not only that, Siddharth had made it clear that he wanted to protect his assets after the divorce, which made Meera fear that she would be left with nothing. Instead of trying to save the marriage, Meera began to scheme to protect her financial interests. She learned that Siddharth had a life insurance policy worth $1.2 million, and the inheritance clause designated her as the primary beneficiary. Rather than face the prospect of divorce, Meera decided to take the most brutal route: eliminate Siddharth to seize the huge insurance money. Meera began to plan carefully, using all her knowledge of Siddharth's habits and work schedule to find the perfect opportunity. In the early hours of March 15, 2015, Meera Sharma reported to the police, claiming that an intruder had broken into her home and shot her husband, Siddharth Raj, dead while she was sleeping. Police rushed to the scene and found Siddharth lying motionless on the bed, a fatal gunshot wound to his left temple. Meera, dressed in a white silk nightgown, looked strangely calm. Initially, the case was treated as a murder case possibly linked to robbery. However, the unusual circumstances at the scene immediately attracted the attention of the police. The doors and windows showed no signs of being broken into, and the locks were intact. The furniture in the house was undisturbed, and the safe containing $50,000 in expensive jewelry was intact. This made the theory of a robbery gone wrong. During a search of the house, the police found a .38 caliber pistol on the kitchen counter. The gun had traces of cleaning chemicals on it, as if someone had tried to erase the marks on its surface. Investigators immediately sent the gun to a lab for fingerprint testing to determine whether it was the murder weapon. Meera's behavior also raised many questions. Instead of panicking or grieving like the wives often do in similar cases, she remained calm. When the police asked her what had happened, Meera's answers were brief and unemotional. In particular, she refused to participate in organizing Siddharth's funeral, leaving all responsibility to his relatives. The police interrogated Meera the same day. She claimed that at around 3 a.m., she heard loud noises and footsteps, but when she ran out of the bedroom, she saw no one. According to her statement, Meera did not dare to return to the room immediately and hid in another room until dawn. However, this statement was inconsistent with the time of the 4:30 a.m. call to the police. Initial forensic analysis also pointed out conflicting details. Siddharth died between 2:30 and 3 a.m., but there were no signs of a struggle. The room where Siddharth was killed was unusually clean, as if it had been cleaned after the incident. The police continued to probe into the couple's personal lives and relationship. From the accounts of friends and acquaintances, they learned that Siddharth and Meera's marriage was not as perfect as it appeared. Meera often complained about Siddharth spending too much time on work, while Siddharth was unhappy with Meera's extravagant spending habits. The conflict culminated when Siddharth discovered that Meera was having an affair with Rahul Nair, an employee at her jewelry store. Rahul Nair quickly became the focus of the investigation. Police discovered that just weeks before Siddharth's death, Meera and Rahul had gone on a short vacation at a luxury resort in Kerala. Photos taken secretly from Rahul's phone revealed that the two were not only in a professional relationship, but also in a romantic relationship. When questioned, Rahul initially denied any involvement in the murder. However, data from his phone showed numerous text messages with Meera, including messages implying the elimination of Siddharth. One particular message from Meera to Rahul on March 10, 2015 read, "It will all be over soon." Be patient. Police also discovered that Meera was the primary beneficiary of Siddharth's $1.2 million life insurance policy. Financial experts were called in to analyze Meera and Siddharth's finances at the time of the murder. They found that their joint account had been nearly depleted, largely due to Meera's spending habits. Siddharth's discussions about divorce and protecting his personal assets sent Meera into a financial crisis. Meera also did not mention the insurance policy in her statement to the police, but records from the insurance company showed that she had contacted them on March 16th, just a day after Siddharth died. This was crucial evidence that a financial motive was clearly at play in the case. Tests on the .38 caliber pistol found in the kitchen confirmed that it was the murder weapon. Although the fingerprints on the gun were unclear due to the cleaning, experts found traces of Meera's DNA on the trigger and the grip, which further strengthened the theory that Meera was directly responsible for Siddharth's death. After questioning Meera Sharma for more than 10 hours, the police found many inconsistencies in her testimony about Siddharth Raj's death. Initially, Meera claimed that an intruder had shot Siddharth while she was sleeping, but the details of her story did not match the evidence at the scene. Forensic examination showed that Meera's fingerprints were on the .38 caliber pistol, the weapon that was identified as the weapon used to kill Siddharth. In addition, the location of the bullet casing found did not fit the theory of a suicide as Meera described. Police further examined Meera's phone and discovered that she had been in contact with Rahul Nair, an employee at the jewelry store Siddharth had opened for her, shortly before and after Siddharth's murder. The messages not only showed an affair between Meera and Rahul, but also contained strong hints that the two had planned to kill Siddharth. A text message from Meera to Rahul a few hours before the murder had a vague but meaningful message: "This is the only way to solve everything." This raised suspicions that Rahul not only knew about the murder in advance, but was also a direct accomplice in the murder plan. Just 5 days after Siddharth's death, Meera was arrested by the police on March 20th, 2015. Although she initially denied all charges and continued to maintain that she had nothing to do with her husband's death, when the police showed her text messages with Rahul, along with the forensic analysis, Meera's attitude began to change. She tried to blame Rahul, saying that he was the mastermind, while she was just following suit. However, the evidence gathered by the police proved otherwise. During the investigation, the police discovered that Rahul Nair not only knew about the plan to kill Siddharth in advance, but also directly provided the pistol to Meera. According to Rahul's statement, the two had discussed in detail how to commit the crime. Their initial plan was to stage a fake break-in to cover up the crime, creating chaos by breaking the safe and stealing some property. However, carelessness in preparation ruined the plan. The crime scene showed no signs of forced entry or tampering, and the safe containing $50,000 in expensive jewelry was still intact, making Meera's theory illogical. Investigators also discovered that Meera had contacted the insurance company shortly after Siddharth's death to inquire about the process for claiming the $1.2 million life insurance policy that Siddharth had purchased, with Meera as the sole beneficiary. This apparent financial motive became one of the most important incriminating factors in the case. The inconsistencies in Meera's testimony continued to grow as the police questioned Rahul. Rahul initially denied any involvement in the murder. However, when confronted with text messages and call records between him and Meera, Rahul was forced to admit that he had provided the pistol to Meera. He claimed that Meera had convinced him that Siddharth was the one causing all the suffering in her life, and that his death was the only way to solve all the problems. During the investigation, the police further discovered that Meera and Rahul had met several times in the weeks before Siddharth's death. Receipts from a luxury hotel in Kerala showed that the two had gone on vacation together while Siddharth was busy with work. This was not only evidence of an affair, but also that they had spent time planning the murder. On the day Siddharth was murdered, CCTV footage from the area near his home showed Rahul leaving on a motorbike just hours before the police were called. This further supported the theory that Rahul was directly involved in the planning, or at least present to assist Meera during the crime. Forensic evidence also showed that Meera had tried to clean the gun with chemicals after use. However, her fingerprints were left on the trigger, and traces of Siddharth's DNA were found on the grip. The ballistic analysis of the gun also confirmed that the bullet had been fired from close range, at an angle consistent with Siddharth being shot while he was asleep. Faced with the overwhelming evidence, Meera began to change her story. She admitted that she had held the gun, but continued to blame Rahul, saying that he had forced her into the plan. Rahul, on the other hand, claimed that Meera was the one who planned the details and that he was just following her instructions. The conflicting statements between the two suspects further made it clear that both of them were actively involved in the crime. In late March 2015, the police officially announced the results of the investigation, concluding that Meera and Rahul had planned Siddharth's murder for financial reasons. Meera, with the ambition to maintain her lavish lifestyle and gain the insurance money, convinced Rahul to help her carry out the plan. Both were charged with murder and conspiracy to commit a crime and were remanded in custody pending trial. Meera Sharma's case shocked the public not only because of her brutality but also because of her cold-hearted calculation. A seemingly perfect marriage, where Siddharth Raj had devoted everything to building a family, ended in tragedy due to greed and betrayal. During the days awaiting trial, Meera remained calm, but the public knew that the price she would pay for her crimes would be enormous. The trial of Meera Sharma and Rahul Nair in September 2016 attracted a lot of public and media attention. The case not only exposed Meera's cold-blooded calculations, but also showed the ruthlessness of the murder plan, which was financially motivated. During the trial, the prosecution focused on presenting irrefutable evidence, exposing Meera's role as the mastermind and Rahul's complicity. The first and most important piece of evidence was the .38 caliber pistol found at the scene. Meera's fingerprints on the gun, along with faint traces of cleaning chemicals, suggested that she had tried to remove the traces after committing the crime. Forensic analysis confirmed that the bullet that hit Siddharth's temple was fired from the same gun, and the trajectory was consistent with Siddharth being shot at close range while he was sleeping. In addition, the prosecution presented financial evidence to shed light on Meera's motive. Siddharth's $1.2 million life insurance policy had Meera as the sole beneficiary. Insurance company records show that Meera contacted them just a day after Siddharth's death to inquire about the claim process. Additionally, financial experts have stated that the couple's joint account was nearly depleted before the incident, largely due to Meera's profligate spending habits. Another piece of evidence presented was Rahul Nair's testimony. He confessed that Meera had coerced him into helping her plan Siddharth's murder. Although Rahul tried to downplay his role in the crime, text messages and GPS data showed that he had met Meera several times before the murder to discuss the details. Hotel receipts from Kerala, where the two had vacationed together, further confirmed their close relationship. The prosecution emphasized that Rahul not only knew about Meera's plans, but also provided her with the gun, making her an integral part of the crime. Throughout the trial, Meera remained calm and did not even show any remorse. However, the evidence and testimony against her were so overwhelming that it did not take long for the jury to reach a verdict. Meera was convicted of first-degree murder and sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole. The sentence reflects the gravity of the crime and the cold-blooded nature of her actions. Rahul Nair, as an accomplice, was sentenced to 20 years in prison. Although he claimed that he was only acting on Meera's orders, his active participation in supplying the weapons and concealing evidence made it impossible for him to escape responsibility. The trial ended with a harsh verdict, but the Meera Sharma case still left a strong impression on public opinion.